Hello everybody, this is the second video for today guys, and I'm gonna talk about AMP and AMP only because it's definitely one of the most interesting altcoins at the moment. It definitely has one of the most interesting charts, especially versus Bitcoin. It has shown quite a lot of strength, so I definitely like to talk a bit more about it. But before I get into all that stuff guys, please remember to like, share and subscribe. Click the bell icon and remember to also follow me on TradingView, Twitter and Telegram for more updates. Now, at the moment, AMP is lying below a key level right here. That was essentially resistance before it became support for a little bit, then turned back into resistance. However, it's still kind of in a bullish trend. Now, of course, I'm talking about the USD chart. However, just know that the BTC chart is way more bullish. So at the moment, we might get a pullback. I don't know how low might it go. Maybe this low, down to 0.05 cents, or maybe even come a bit lower. However, I do expect it to slowly get above this resistance line, maybe chop a little bit in this area and then slowly go higher. Hope that one makes sense guys, because for now it's still on an uptrend. It has found some resistance, doesn't look extremely strong, but it doesn't look very weak either, at least versus the US dollar. Now, if I look at the BTC chart, now the chart doesn't really show the whole picture because AMP before it was actually rebranded, renamed into AMP, because before it was named Flexacoin or FXC, that was the ticker actually. It was actually trading below 140 sats and it was going sideways. It had a nice sideways chart going all the way back to maybe late 2018 or early 2019. It was kind of brand new at the time, and then it had the pump, so it was chopping between anywhere between, let's say, 140 sats and about 20 sats, or a bit lower, maybe let's say 15 sats. And then what happened was similar stuff with Quant. We had the very big dip, but because it was already trying to break out versus Bitcoin, kept tapping the same resistance, it started kind of trying to break out. So once we started getting more positive news, like let's say the Coinbase listing and so on, it did have a very significant pump. Now let's have a look at what AMP looks on Coinbase right here. So we do have that pump which came in mid-June. Of course, before that we had the news, so the announcement definitely pushed the price a little higher, and currently the price is kind of, it's not exactly going sideways, but it's still kind of at the same price when it got listed on Coinbase. So of course, most other altcoins have done way worse, so AMP has done pretty well, especially given the fact that, let's say, from mid-May, most altcoins are below those levels, below their highs and so on, while AMP is still above the levels that it was in late or mid-May. So in my opinion, if that's the case and we have that massive sideways movement, which doesn't look exactly like QNT, like Quant, because I think Quant is a little bit more bullish than AMP, at least that's my opinion. I don't really want to compare the fundamentals because they are two different coins. They're not exactly, well, they are different coins because one is a blockchain, one is actually working on top of blockchains, or I should say one is a ledger, connecting ledgers, while the other one has more to do with collateral and payments in a different fashion, which isn't actually a blockchain. Now, for AMP, in my opinion, now that we have gotten the Coinbase listing, we actually got another very interesting listing, which was the listing on Binance US, but it hasn't been listed on the Binance International, the exchange most people are using globally. So that's very interesting, and in my opinion, that means that at some point AMP will get listed on Binance as well. Okay, so it's probably going to be one of the very few coins that have been listed on Binance US first, and then on Binance Global, Binance International. It depends on how you want to call it, maybe just Binance. So if we just have a look at the listings, one of the listings that in my opinion was actually indicating that at some point Coinbase was going to list Gemini was, the Coinbase listing was going to happen was the listing on Gemini. AMP has been one of the coins that have grown substantially and have been doing very, very well for many years. Actually, they haven't dipped as much versus Bitcoin, because if they're above the 2019, 2018 highs, they're doing very well. Those coins, they have been outperforming most of the market up until now, okay? Because most coins haven't been able to break those highs, and that means that those that have are doing very, very well. Of course, there are many new coins, and usually newer coins do well. So if an older coin does well, that means something is right and something is going very, very well for that coin. It means that there is demand, proper demand, and more, like, might be very speculative, but it's still strong demand. Or maybe the supply is restricted because there is, like, you know, people that really, really believe in the project. And I do believe there are many people that truly believe in AMP, because all my past videos on AMP, they got a lot of attention, and many people talking, just saying very good things about AMP. Now, it also got listed on crypto.com, and so far it hasn't had many pairs on Coinbase exchange. Potentially maybe we'll get AMPUSDT and maybe AMPBTC and so on. So there will be more liquidity for that one as well. So in my opinion, more exchanges will follow after Binance US, potentially Huobi, OKX, and more exchanges will start listing AMP, and that could be potentially a great catalyst for more upside. Because look, when Coinbase and some other exchanges list certain coins, more smaller exchanges are kind of forced to follow, because usually the smaller exchanges tend to lead, but sometimes they might have to follow now, especially that Coinbase is listing more and more coins, and actually Binance is trying to keep up with them. So for AMP, all I can say is that the BTC chart is actually pretty good, because look, AMP right now is about, let's say, I don't know, 9x, 10x above its lows from 2019, or maybe I should say, maybe it's a little bit more from its all-time lows that we cannot see right here, because we're missing some previous past data. But in my opinion, it's still looking strong, being up 10x, which is about the same that Quant is up at the moment from its 2021 lows. It's still pretty strong, okay? And that means that if the market is up just 10x and those coins are still below, let's say, a 5 billion in market cap, I do believe they do have more potential. That doesn't mean they're going to be the next 10x, but they could easily do another 2, 3, 4x with kind of less risk, okay? Because once those coins break some very key levels versus Bitcoin or USD, and those levels become a floor, let's say potentially like 100 or 140 sats is right now for AMP, or maybe like, I don't know, 18,000 sats to 12,000 sats is for QNT. Those levels are very good levels for people to keep adding to their holdings. Now, if we just go back finally to the AMP price on USD on Gemini, in my opinion, like I said before, 5 cents is good. Now, if we get a proper bear market and things really go down, because mainly BTC is going to go down, I don't know, 1.5 cents is great, but I just feel like this is a little far-fetched at the moment. If things are going very badly, I'll definitely update my views, guys. I'll definitely let you guys know where I would be looking to buy next. But for now, I do believe that buying the dip or any dip, potentially after a big move on Bitcoin or after a big down move on Bitcoin, buying some of those alts like QNT and AMP is definitely a great choice. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.